I'm sure most of you know me. If you don't, I'm Petrie Shaw. I'm the senior minister here. I grew up in northern Kentucky, and I spent my summers in deep southern Kentucky. My family still lives there. We lived on a homestead and had quarter horses. So I grew up making my own food, up to and including popcorn, making our own popcorn, harvesting all of that, living off of vegetables we harvested, butchering our own cattle. I spent a good portion, my first 18 years I was there. I am adopted, so my birth family is Yemenite Israeli, and my mom was 13. I was a bit of a surprise. So they had put me with the state adoption agency because it's very hard in 1969 to do something with a white Yemenite Israeli kid. So mom and dad adopted me. I have, my late sister was 2 years behind me, Tracy, and then my brothers are Joe, Paul, Adam, and then the youngest two are Natalie and Abigail. Natalie is 19 and Abigail is going to be 22. My parents are 80. Mom and dad are very stressed people. So I had gone back to my birth family at 18 and got to know them, and they are a combination of European Jewish and Hasidic Jewish. And so that was quite interesting. I spent until I was 36 hanging out with them and in that world and in those communities. My ex-husband Brian is Lubavitcher Jewish. So we were married for 14 years. I have 3 boys. So 1 is mine and 2 were my late partners. So my son is 35 this year. And my partner's son is also 35. The boys were the same age. And the younger one is 33 this year. He is deaf. My father is deaf. I am functionally deaf, but I have really nice hearing aids. So as long as I can read your lips, I'm great. We moved to Wisconsin to take a church there back in 2013. And so I was there for 7 years, and I was lucky enough to get called here. So that's the nutshell version of where am I from and what am I doing. Growing up, my adoptive parents are really right-wing Anglican, the group that broke with the Anglican Communion and allied with some of the African churches. So no women on the pulpit, no homosexuals are welcome. They're very right-wing conservative. As you can imagine, that was not an enjoyable atmosphere growing up. She'd asked, can I share the story of coming out and how both my families, birth and adopted, dealt with that? And that's a great question. So I came out between 15 and 16. I lived in a sundown town in Kentucky, northern Kentucky. So all white, middle class, homesteads, farms, nice houses. As far as I knew, I was the only gay kid at my high school. I was definitely the only kid who identified as gender fluid or gender neutral. Back then, I would have said I was neutral. Nobody at school seemed to give a darn. School was fun. Nobody cared. The fact that I was their only, I was one of their big scholarship winners, so I made them a lot of money in terms of, so they were real friendly. So I was a National Merit finalist, and I was their only National Merit finalist. So, I got pat on that. I don't think they would have cared if I was gardening bricks. Home was a little different. My parents have mellowed unbelievably over the years, thank God. Back then, they were not so mellow. They were not happy about it at all. And so I spent a lot of time learning exactly why I was going to hell and what directions I would be taking to get there. And I spent a lot of time going, yeah, whatever. And so I left home at 18. My birth mother, on the other hand, went, oh, okay, that's cool, I'm bisexual, so whatever. So there was a lot of laid back with that whole thing. And luckily, mom and dad have mellowed over the years, and we've entered into the don't ask, don't tell, and we won't scream or cry. I'm like, hey, I'll take it. You're 80. We've managed to hold a conversation and have dinner. This is awesome. So we're at the don't ask, don't tell stage, and we're doing pretty well with that. So when I left home at 18, you know, I had met my birth mother and went to hang out with her, and really enjoyed the European Jewish of her mother. And then met some relatives who were Hasidim, and was amazed at the warmth and the community and the welcome that I got, even coming back in from outside and not speaking either Yiddish or Hebrew. I had a hell of a learning curve for a few years there. And then my younger half brother became Breslover Hasidim, which are if you go to Israel and see a bunch of wild people dancing in the streets and singing, those are the Breslover Hasidim. And I thought that was the most fun, wonderful community I had ever seen. Problem is, women and genderqueer people don't have a lot of space to get into religious leadership. You can be a rabbinitzin, you can marry the rabbi, you can do a lot of things, but you're not real welcome on the pulpit. And so I had started attending a UU church for the community on and off while I was in college. And I had dropped in and out over the years and really loved the people, loved the church. And it came down to, did I want to be a rabbi or did I want to be a minister? What did that look like? And if I was going to be a rabbi, I would have wanted to be Hasidic. And that's not going to happen. And I didn't want to revamp an entire religion for the sake of me. And I didn't want to get a degree and experience. You can try to be an Orthodox female rabbi, you're just not going to succeed very well. And I went back and started attending a UU church more and thought, you know what? These are my people. These are people who see all the possibilities, not just one set, and I can be me in this space. And as I'd gotten older, I had started looking at primitive Christianity, the Christianity that says, Paul is kind of a dork, and what they've done to organized religion stinks, and I don't believe in most of that. But I do believe in the ideas that Jesus had about loving each other, being nice to each other, and welcoming each other, and I liked that. And the more I liked that, the more I thought, boy, I'm not going to be a good rabbi. So I came over this way and truly found my people. So I got my first degrees from U of L and NKU. I started at the University of Louisville, switched over to Northern Kentucky University because there was a professor I wanted to work with. So my first degrees are in English, Literature, and Linguistics, with a minor in women's studies, and then psychology and non-Euclidean mathematics. So I was a weird child. But as you can imagine, teachers in Northern Kentucky don't make a lot. So I had been a nurse aide all through, you know, I did it in high school, I did it in college, really liked it, had fun with it. So when I realized that my day teaching job, which I was teaching English and ESL, English as a second language, I realized that if I worked a double shift as an aide, I made more money in that second shift than I did as a teacher. And so I was holding down two jobs. I was working as an aide at night and as a teacher during the day. And I ran the numbers and went, you know, if I quit this teaching job, I'll make $10,000 more a year. So I shifted back over, did nurse aide for a few years, got my CMA, and then got my nursing license. And did that for a long time, and because I already had my bachelor's and all that, I was able to get my administrator's license in Kentucky and become a nursing home administrator. I spent a lot of years as an assistant director, as an assistant administrator, as a consultant. And then I went back to Meadville Lombard Theological Seminary in Chicago, which is one of our UU seminaries, and I got my Master of Divinity there. Which it's a fun school, it's an amazing school. I did part of my coursework at Chicago Catholic Theological Seminary because we took classes with them quite often, saved the Unitarians from having to have Bible class. So it was a great experience. That I got to give heck to a bunch of young Catholic priests for 3 years. Those poor guys, I don't know how they survived the Unitarians, but wonderful experience though. How do I like it here? I love it. Iowa is awesome. Do I have any plans to leave? See question 1. And I had a great question from Sarah. What is a writing day? She had just wondered that for a whole year. I love that. So every week on Thursday, I take a writing day. Well, what is that? Am I writing a book? No. That's the day that all the ministers get guaranteed in their contract so that we actually have time to write a service and a sermon. And they found that by giving us 1 day a week where we're allowed to work from home, to sit there quietly, without being disturbed, we tend to actually get our service and sermon done. This is what is called a lie. You will find 57 of us online on Saturday night going like, okay, I'll get done on Thursday. But at least we try.